to another episode of This Witch is Viral, number 6. Joining me today is an amazing and beautiful soul, Reverend Natacha, owner of Compassionate Heart. And you wear many, many other hats. So I'm very, very happy to welcome you to the show today. How are you?
Thank you so much, Nina, for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I love your format. I listen to your other podcasts with other guests. I think they're lively, they're fun, and I hope the audience will like this one today.
They will, definitely. I can definitely guarantee that. So you do a lot of different things. So first of all, I just want to kind of tell the audience or the listeners, the viewers, how we met. So we actually met doing a Reiki course together at Pure Lotus, which is owned by Carrie, who's been on the show a couple of times. And there's just something so amazing and so beautiful about your energy. You were one of the, and I'm not trying to, kiss your butt or anything for a good interview, but it's just, you are literally, your energy is just so calming and kind and compassionate, right? So it makes sense that you would name your business Compassionate Heart. So do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, when I started my business, it actually all started with Carrie. I was drawn to do Reiki, and I just Googled Reiki. She's the one who popped up. You know how sometimes the universe brings us um,
Absolutely.
things. So I followed that. I was one of the last one-on-one private patient with Carrie doing Reiki, because after that she went on only group class. So I had the immense privilege of doing my Reiki level one-on-one with Carrie. That
Oh,
was,
wow.
yeah,
That's
that was
amazing.
amazing. And then I was hooked. So I did level 2 with you. We met a great woman at that class. And for me, it was a way to live my spirituality in a more concrete way. So before I had my meditation and my prayers, but with Reiki, you really get to embody the universe and the spirit and really feel this wave. And I find it's a concrete way to help other people. Sometimes with the spirituality, for people who are more rational, I find it's a bit harder to approach them. But Reiki is a beautiful door where you, and I do my Reiki styles with touch. Some people don't touch, I touch. And I find it really helps the brain go back in the body and say, hey, I'm here, I'm giving you energy, I'm helping you heal. So when I did my ministry class and I was pondering on my name, to answer your question, that's a long answer.
That's
Um,
okay. We've got the time. All
I
good.
thought, why am I here? Why do I want to be a minister, and why do I want to have my ministry? And for me, so that's a saying in French. So the real name, you said compassionate earlier, it's really compassion heart. And the reason, because that's from a French saying, is in French I would say, je mets mon cœur de compassion. I'm putting on my compassion heart. And that's something I say often to myself as a reminder that sometimes we tend to judge, or sometimes we get impatient. But when we go back in this compassionate heart position, we're more prone to understanding the other and really go from a place of healing and understanding. So for me, in the hard moments of life, I always go back, okay, let's put back the compassion heart here, and what should be the more appropriate response.
And so, how would you go about doing something like that? Because I find it's really hard in society to sometimes do that. I find a lot of people are like, go, go, go. And a lot of people also, I find, are more reactive than responsive to things. And a lot of people are like, I don't have the time to slow down and take a deep breath and, do these things. So what do you recommend people do?
And I find, like, we have those grand ideas, but often human being is a bit selfish, and often the brain asks, what is in it for me? So what is in it for me to be more compassionate is that the alternative is not fun. When you choose to put on your compassionate heart, you approach situation in a more win-win point of view. And so I'm an accountant. When I approach my client with a compassionate heart, I end up, even in business, in solving more problems. And with my family, if I go ahead with a heart of compassion, the connection is better. and then I feel better as a person because I can have more peace. Even if I drive and there's a silly person in front of me cutting me, what's the alternative? I'm gonna yell at them? Then I don't feel good.
A lot of people do. I know it's terrible.
And
Yeah,
to each his own. I mean, everybody has their way of dealing with stuff. But for me, I find that when I go back to this space, and then it's so much faster. It's instantaneous. It cuts the energy, the negative energy, and you go back to center, peace, and move forward.
right. And I think that's, and just for myself, because I also do Reiki for people as well, I find that um, doing Reiki on someone is also in a way self-healing. It's very like an interesting energy exchange, right? And I find that as much as I fill their cup up, they also fill my cup up. And I think that's also, has to do with doing those things that you are very passionate about in life and that are very purposeful. So,
I think that you have a good point there, and that's what I love about Carrie's lesson. And she's very humble in her approach, and that's what we have to keep in mind. We are not the ones healing; we are just a vehicle, a conduit of energy, and really, the client does the healing with the energy of the universe. We're just there as an accessory. And when I keep that in mind, it helps me stay in that humble state, and that's why we also heal, because the energy goes through us for the client. And I like this approach of saying it's not about me, it's really about the energy and the client, and how can we help. So yeah.
yeah, and Reiki also offers a lot of other benefits too, right? For that person. So there's all kinds of things. And I totally agree that it's just such a nice time and space to just be able to kind of go on that beautiful energetic journey. And I find that when I'm with my clients, it's so interesting how the time goes by and you're like, whew, okay, what just happened? It's an amazing tool for sure. So I really enjoy doing it as well. So as far as your um, life as a reverend goes, are all of these things kind of under the same like business umbrella? So how does that work exactly, your business?
So when I decided to become a minister, I created my ministry. So the name of my ministry is Compassion Heart. And then within that ministry, I decided what I want to do. So one of the pillars is Reiki, but I also do volunteer at church. So it's called Ottawa Interfaith Spiritualist Church. So now I'm very proud because I've been accepted to be to do service once in a while. So I'm in front with the other reverends. Today I did a speech at the church to talk about how to live your spirituality every day in real life, what I call in real life. So to really come back here and be more grounded with all that spiritual connection. Um, I do also officiate weddings. So that's a component. Not everyone wants to do it or not, but it's something I'm exploring this year. So I'm promoting that. And I have one of my wedding officiant colleagues. She said, Natasha, it's just like Reiki. And I really liked her analogy in saying, Reiki, you're, like I said, a vehicle of energy, a conduit to help the person heal. When you officiate weddings, it's the same. You're there to hold space for this enormous amount of love between two people. And I find it's so beautiful. When the groom, I'm an emotional person. When the groom comes in every time, and I have to keep myself strong because I'm officiating, but it's just so powerful. The energy of the room and the love, and it's a privilege to be able to witness that. When people love each other, it's amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful. And that's also a good segue into, this will air. Well, actually, it is already February as we record this today, but this will be airing in February. And obviously, that's the month of love. And we had talked kind of previously just about our own personal dating lives a little bit. And so I'm kind of like, and I've been open and honest about this on the podcast because for some reason people find my dating life interesting. I don't know why. I was over my dating life about 5 years ago. But anyways, but I mean, it's not often, like, there's so many people that are, you know, settled down and have children. I don't have children. I've never been married. I'm still single. So maybe that's, you know, partly my problem. I don't know, but it's so funny because with Valentine's Day coming on February 14th, it's such an interesting time for people that are single. So I, for myself, always, instead of getting depressed and eating like a box of chocolates or something, I always kind of do my own self-care and take care of myself and turn that inward into self-love. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough self-love sometimes. So yeah. Do you do anything special for like any self-love practices?
For me, baths are a big one. I like my salt baths with my music, my essential oils. That's a very special moment. I do echo. You, Nina, being single as a woman is not always easy. I
Mm-hmm.
am. It's my choice. I love it. But there are some periods that are harder. And the way I talked about it today at church, and we can have both. So it's okay that we're happy with the situation and that at certain times it's hard. So for example, I was single at Christmas. Christmas was hard. It's a
Yeah.
really rough time, and I'm blessed. I had a lot of friends inviting me, and so I think for me as a single woman, it's redefining what love is. It can be with my family, with my friends, and sometimes we will feel lonely, and it's okay because
Mhm.
I know people in a relationship who feel lonely as well. So
Mm,
being in a
absolutely.
relationship is really not the solution. It's those who find love, it's amazing, and I truly respect that. I admire that. It's beautiful, but I think there's a period for everything. Maybe right
Yeah,
now it's my period to be single, and that's okay.
absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's also just the way society kind of molds this situation where it's like if you're single, there's something wrong with you. And I don't feel like that either. I feel like this is just kind of, although I am actively dating, but I'm also at that point in my life where I'm like, unless you're enhancing my life, I don't need that person for anything, right? I'm financially independent and everything else I can do for myself, which has been also part of self-love, right? So that is also part of self-love. And I think a lot of the times you certainly have to have self-love to have a good relationship. So I
And
just
I'm
go ahead,
gonna say something super cheesy, Nina, because this I did not
go for
understand.
it.
Let's go on the cheese. So I would not have understood that 1 year ago, but now I'm so in the spirituality world. They say, oh, you develop your love with, you call it as universe, God, whatever is your understanding, and that is part of self love. And I thought, really, me praying God will give me self love? I could not
Yeah,
understand what I my brain could understand the love with the friends and the love with, let's say, my mom or my family, but my love with God, how could my love with God fill me? But now that I've really deepened my relationship with spirit, I can say that it's a kind of love that it's a more calm, and it's really, you find a peace within, that
yeah,
the search of love becomes different. And for me, that's the connection that we can make with spirituality, and saying it doesn't give me hugs or it doesn't give me a glass of wine on Saturday, but it gives me this assurance that it's going to be okay. And that's self love as well.
absolutely. That's amazing. I love that. That wasn't cheesy at all. That was beautiful. I've done a lot of cheesy on this show, so that was not cheesy, my friend. um, yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. I think what's really neat too about you, Natasha, is just that you know you're a reverend, um, you know, in a church essentially, and then you're also very spiritual, and I love that because so many people have asked me like, "Oh, are you religious or are you spiritual?" And there's so much like black and white out there, much like people are very black and white about, oh, you're single, oh, what's wrong with you, or that kind of thing, oh, you choose to be single, oh, like that sort of thing. So I think it's so important to have these kinds of conversations and kind of start to switch that narrative a little bit and shape that narrative differently, especially for the younger generation, right? Because there's so much, you know, between like social media and filters. And yes, I've used filters, sure, but like just all kinds, right? It's just such a disconnected world. So, yeah, I think that's really cool.
What I'm learning, so I'll give you a concrete example. I don't know why in my practice I attract a lot of people, so either from trauma or from anxiety, mental health related stuff. So I had a client on my table, and she had lived big trauma, and it was amazing because I thought maybe with her I cannot close the lights. And then I asked her, I said, should I close the light? Are you okay? And it's just, it really allowed me to think that those words that we use and what we think so for example, with 90% of my client, I would dim the light and close the light, but with that person, that was not possible because
Yeah.
of her past. And then thinking we need to, so even when I do at church today, when I did one of my prayers, I said, okay, guys, so one of my favorite word is simple, simple. We're going to keep this simple. I'm going to use the word God, but if you want to use universe. And now I'm prefacing this every time because it's important that it doesn't matter the word, choose a word, but it's really about creating that connection. So same with my client, lights on, lights off, whatever you want to do, really it's about you allowing yourself to be on the table and heal. So we need to expand those
Yeah.
horizons to welcome more people in spirituality. Absolutely.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. And what you said too about, so just creating connection. So what are some ways, you know, tomorrow, after somebody watches the podcast, say, what are some ways that people can kind of create connection? How can people get started doing that?
Oh, I love that subject. Okay.
Oh.
So I'm an accountant, so I'm gonna put that because I will look very mathematical, but follow me. Often I find people think that, oh, it will happen naturally. Yes, some things happen naturally. And I think we are on this earth to work towards something, to learn towards something. And there's stuff that if you just sit on your couch, nothing will happen. So that's my preface. And so, for example, when I arrived in the region, I'm from Quebec City, I had no friends. And I really wanted to build a community around me. So what I did is every time I was meeting somebody that said, hey, if you ever need anything, call me, boom, I would take them on it. And then I would invite them for coffee. And I would really make a point of following up. And it takes a lot of time, but connection can be built over, there's many ways, but I find often that people don't put the effort it requires. So that would be one that is a bit more structured. The other is finding things that you like. So for me, going to church, that helps. Boom, I meet 100 people every Sunday.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Some people are not inclined to go to church. It's okay. The gym. And what I realize is that often people who struggle with anxiety or mental health, going outside the house can be quite difficult. So maybe for that situation is finding ways of baby steps. So maybe, I don't know, reaching out to a colleague through Zoom or finding, so now I'm talking all about outside connection. And then if I talk about internal connection, is developing your daily something, your daily, whatever ritual that works with you. It can be a candle. It can be reading something that inspires you, a song, a dance, a prayer.
You can pull a card.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like doing that, pulling cards. Yeah. So it's kind of a nice way to set the intention of the day. Yeah.
Right.
And to connect with your spirit team as well.
Right.
Meditation too, or yeah, anything really. And if you can't, I tell my clients this often. I'm like, if you're not into actually meditating, then do a walking meditation or do, you know, a dancing meditation. You don't have to just, you know, basically, you don't have to sit there like this and not be able to do it or not get anything from it. Because I know for myself, when I do that, a lot of the time I'm trying to push my grocery list out of the way, and I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to be thinking about my bills or all these appointments I have or whatever. So sometimes it's nice to do something you love and also create the connection that way, right? Yeah, so that's also a fun way to kind of do that.
And that's a good point because they often say that to connect with spirit, you need to arise a vibration. And we often arise a vibration when we do something we like. So if
Ah,
you dread meditation, don't do it. Find something else. And really, it doesn't matter. It's just to be in silence. Silence, no, but be with yourself in a way that works for you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's, and it's funny too. So kind of going full circle here is that is love not the highest vibration? You got,
We
yeah,
100% yes.
yeah, yeah.
And when
So
I was looking for my ministry name, it was one I was trying like love angels, or I tried a lot of combination, but yes, love is so powerful. Right.
absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on today before we wrap up
Wow,
our?
that went really fast. That was fun. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I maybe I want to put this in the universe. So to expand my ministry, I challenge myself this year. I've been wanting since the creation of my ministry to do something with palliative care. So I've been trying to be. So I applied at Hospice Ottawa. I tried to do their training. It's been a year, but either the date was not working. Or, anyways, so now the
Ah,
the dates are working, and I'm starting my training next month. I'm very excited. So it's maybe I'm putting this out there, but to continue doing stuff that scares us a little bit, to make sure that
yes,
we keep pushing boundaries and to explore. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how I can help people at the end of life. So
that's
very excited.
that's amazing. And pushing boundaries, and it's funny you say that. So Carrie and I just did an episode, and it's all about getting out of your comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
that's how I always know I'm getting out of my comfort zone. If it's like it feels good, but it's a little bit scary, and you feel anxious and a little bit scared, but you're very excited. It's like a whole whirl of
Yeah.
crazy emotions. So, but that's also where the growth is too, right?
And
So
it's also to remember that this is why we're human, that we're here to, for me, from my belief, I'm here to learn and grow. And if we always do easy thing, well, how can we explore more things, and how can we evolve? So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. I love your take on life. And it's funny because you had said that creating connection, you've always been very good at that in our group, in our Reiki group, because we have our group chat. You're always like the one that keeps everybody together. So I can see that from you. And yeah, you're a beautiful person. So I'm really happy that you were able to come on the show.
thank you
So
so much. It was amazing. Anytime I can come back. I loved it. Thank you.
absolutely. I'd love to have you back. And before we go today, I'd love for you
Yeah.
to plug your socials so
Oh,
that people know how to find you.
thank you. So my website is compassionheart.ca. On there, you will see a link if you want to book me for Reiki. Also, if you're interested with my wedding officiant services, you can send me an email. The email is there. So it's compassionheart23@gmail.com. And I'm at church every Sunday. The church is at 888 Byron. The name is Ottawa Interfaith Spiritualist Church. What else? Yeah, and I'll keep you posted on my palliative care later.
Yes, yes, please do. And just one quick question about Reiki. Do you do just in person Reiki or do you do distance Reiki as well?
Just in person for now.
Okay,
So
perfect.
I
Yeah,
have a
because you like to
location on
touch.
the wait. I'm a touching person. Yeah,
I
for me,
I hear you. Yeah, I
yeah,
I like in person too. It's a nicer
yeah.
connection I find.
And
Yeah.
also, I find a big power of Reiki in my practice is that the person takes the time to leave the house. So they're leaving their dishes, they're leaving their grocery list, they come on the table. So right there, you're telling the brain, this is my time for myself. And
Yes.
I find, and it's same for me when I have services online, it's good, but I still see my dishes are right there. And to take this moment, I find my clients are really having a more I'm creating a spa experience a little bit like this is your time, and you're telling the brain, the universe, that you want to heal, getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that makes a lot of sense because I think it's very easy, especially post-COVID days, to kind of hunker down. Like I work from home now, so I can hunker down in my house pretty much every single day. And by doing that, it makes obviously connecting and creating connection a lot harder. So you're certainly practicing what you preach there by having people coming to you and you know, in person. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And yeah, you can find this Witches Viral on YouTube, soon to be Spotify. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under Nina DeBoss, and also under This Witches Viral. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today, and I hope you come back soon, Natasha. All
Thank you,
right.
Nina. Good luck, and thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Now I gotta find that record button. Stop recording. Okay. Bye.